What is up, everybody? I am Duncan Kneedeep, and today I am bringing you a news video. I told you guys that I would not cover any Pokemon news until it was something that I thought was significant, and this looks like a really significant bit of news. So the image up on your screen is the latest Coro Coro leak, and it is leaking a lot of information about Zygarde and what we used to call affectionately Zygums. So it looks like the blob form of Zygums is Zygarde's brain, and it forms multiple different types of Zygardes. The flat version are Zygarde cells, and when they fuse together, they can form different forms of Zygarde. Zygarde, as we currently know him, is only 50% perfect Zygarde, so only 50% of the cells are present. There is a new form of a dog or doge Zygarde, which is a 10% formed Zygarde, and then finally there is this new Megazord Zygarde that is known as Perfect Zygarde, which is made up of 100% of its cells. All of these forms do maintain the Dragon Ground typing. The dog apparently has very high speed, and the final form is apparently very powerful. The final form does have access to the 1000 waves and 1000 arrows attacks, which we saw earlier on and have been able to hack into the game. And let's just talk about these forms really quickly. First of all, the dog form seems like it could actually be better competitively than the regular Zygarde form, despite only being 10% formed instead of 50, because they say that it's high speed. Now, something that Zygarde's always lacked is speed. I think it's too slow of a mon to be particularly useful, especially since there are better Dragon Ground types. But if the dog is fast enough, we can have a new offensive presence on the field, which I think could be really interesting. But even more interesting is this perfect form. It is coming in at 4.5 meters and 610 kilograms, so I don't imagine it's going to be the fastest Pokemon. And my friend Kylie Nim did point out that it actually looks like the French flag, with the blue, white, red on its chest and the little smiley face on its chest, which I think is a really interesting look. I find the look of this monster interesting. This Pokemon is a very interesting looking Pokemon. I think it looks very aggressive. I kind of like the look. It is growing on me. When I first saw it, I really did hate it, but it is growing on me quite quickly, and all of a sudden I really want to make teams with it, because at heart I am a competitive battler and I really want to make teams. Something that sprung to mind when seeing these new Zygarde forms, which really upset me, is that this does make it very unlikely that the next game in the series will be Generation 7. Now, Pokemon Z was always a possibility. It was always something that we thought would happen, and I was really hoping that we were wrong and that the next game would be Generation 7, especially after the Pokemon Go conference timeline, which had a new generation almost every 3 years, and then a question mark for 2016, which made it look like we were actually getting a new generation in 2016. As of that conference, I really did get my hopes up for Generation 7 in 2016, and it is just a little heartbreaking to see the Pokemon X, Y, and Z logo in this leak. Of course, Pokemon Z could still bring enough to the table in order to refresh the competitive metagame, at least long enough to last us until Generation 7, so long as Generation 7 does launch in 2017 and they don't have a 2-year gap to 2018, because if they did have that 2-year gap, this game would not last, in my opinion. In addition to the Zygarde news, there is a new form for Greninja, or a new look for Greninja. This is not a Mega form as far as we are aware. It is listed as a new look for Greninja, or an alternative look for Greninja. So don't go getting too excited thinking that this is a Mega Greninja form. Fortunately, for the safety of all existing metagames, that monster, that savage that is Greninja, is not getting a Mega Evolution yet. This does not, of course, rule out a Mega Greninja evolution, and in fact, I think that if there isn't a Mega Greninja in the future, I would be very shocked, but this here is not Mega Greninja. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this little news update and my opinions on these leaks, and I will see you guys with more news as it develops. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.